could be.
Hello and welcome to Connett Reacts, a podcast where I review, discuss, and critique albums by some of my favorite artists. Today is going to be a very special podcast because I will not be reviewing an album at all. I actually was able to do a phone interview with Windsor musician Jake Diab, who is a member of the band Autumn Kings. And anybody who knows me knows that I am a huge fan of Autumn Kings, and I have been for probably a little over 3 years now. The reason that I was able to put this together is because I'm actually writing a story on Autumn Kings for a magazine based in Windsor, Ontario. So seeing as I was already doing the interview, I figured I would put it in a podcast, because if I didn't interview Jake Diab in my first year of college for my very first entertainment story involving a band, I would not have had my love and interest for the entertainment world of reporting and photography that I have right now. So Jake and Autumn Kings have actually started my career as a photographer and as a reporter, kind of, in the world of entertainment. So seeing as I get to interview Jake again, I figured I would share it with the fans of Autumn Kings, as well as just to have for my own personal reasons, because it's pretty damn cool in my opinion. Without further ado, here's the interview. And if you have any questions, comments, you want to see me do things more things on my podcast, like interviews, or if you have any album suggestions, you have any movie soundtracks that you want to hear me review, just anything in general that you kind of want to get in contact with me about, I will have the links and stuff in the description below. And without further ado, here's the interview, and I hope you enjoy. So going back to 2015 when you started Autumn Kings, would you ever have imagined accomplishing everything that you've accomplished?
That's a good question. You know, from the very beginning of this band's inception, we knew this was something that we wanted to take as far as it could go, to the arena level. So I think it would be disingenuous to say that we didn't see the success coming. Now, at the same time, once it actually hits you, it feels like a pinch me sort of moment every time it does happen. So although we had those goals from the beginning of the band to reach the success we've gotten to, and even further down the road once we're selling out the arenas and getting to that level, it's always been something from the beginning of this band we knew we wanted to do. But as each of those little wins come in real time, it definitely feels surreal. So in a way, we could imagine it, but at the same time, we're very grateful and blessed to be doing what we're doing.
So obviously you guys have been around for a few years now, a little over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So with being together for that long, what are your most memorable experiences that you guys have had in those 5 years? And what are your plans for the next 10 to 15?
That's a good question. I think the greatest moments that we've had in the last 5 years is the camaraderie of being in a band with people that I'm friends with, that I enjoy spending time with. We just finished a show last night in Detroit at the Pike Room, actually in Pontiac, Michigan. They don't like when you call it Detroit because they don't like you mix it up, but we love them.
Yeah.
Pontiac, Michigan. We had a packed house, people singing every single word to the new songs, Echo and Love Let Go, which are out, Autumn King singles. And getting to do that with the people that I was friends with before we were in a band, before we were doing this as a job together, to be able to experience that with our friends, I think all along from the very beginning of this band till as we're speaking right now, being able to experience that with my best friends has been an incredible feeling. This 4-month high school tour in 2016 with Live Different was another excellent experience that we got to have. We got to see the country together, and we got to do it playing guitar, playing rock and roll. So that was great. The Detroit Red Wings goal song was one of the biggest highlights of our career too, when they started adding Devil in Disguise to be the goal song. Every time the Wings scored, they're playing the Na 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 chant through the arena, something that I wrote when I was in high school. And to see it come to fruition like that is really something that I'm grateful for, and that was a highlight moment. Moving forward, the next 5, 10, 15 years is just growing the Autumn Kings machine, the Autumn Kings band, and putting out as much music as we possibly can for all the people around the world who have been waiting patiently for us to keep putting it out. It's to keep playing music for the people that love us, and we love them. And we're going to take it all across the world to do it on the largest scale possible. We're going to get to those stadiums and get everybody to know who Autumn Kings is.
Nice. And so I've noticed over the course of just listening to the music and actually becoming a really big fan of it, that your music has changed quite a bit since the release of Silver Screens. What was the
Mhm.
process like in changing your style? Did you face any roadblocks?
It was definitely a very big transition, and it did not happen overnight. It was intentional. We have the first record of songs, Silver Screens, which is heavily rock focused, and that's you can hear our influences in those songs very clearly. The Billy Count, the 3 Days Grace, the Maroon 5, the Chili Peppers is all very apparent in that music. And one thing we started to realize is the vocal is perhaps the most important element of being in a band. People really connect with the vocals and the words because that's ultimately the language that they're connecting with. Music is a language in and of itself, but the lyrics are really what, at the end of the day, most people are connecting with lyrics and melody. So, in taking that into consideration, Joe's voice is very suited for ballads, for pop songs, for things that can, just have a soft sort of delivery to them and connect with people. So we wanted to expand our musical palette, not really getting away from the Silver Screens, but just expanding on it, still keeping what we love about the rock music, the heavy, badass, edgy elements in rock music, but incorporating that into something that's modern, melodic, poppy, and singable. Want You to Stay would mark the first song where we really had a significant transition from the rock to pop world. But at the same time, it's not that significant when you see us live. And you've seen the shows too, Travis, but when we play Want You to Stay live, it comes across as a rock song still. It just has the poppy moments that make the listener remember it. So I would say, 2017, 2018, once we started putting out more music that was leaning a little bit more melodic, like Want You to Stay, Need Your Love, Electrified, Lights Go Out, which is more 2019. That's really when we had to change. But it was definitely something we had to put a lot of work into and really just rethink our approach to songwriting. It's more lyrically focused now. It's more melodic focused, whereas before, me as a guitar player had a tendency to make riffs first and then have everything else in the song surround that. Now, we're sort of starting the songs with an acoustic guitar and just vocals and lyric. And if we can make it sound good with those basic elements, then we know once all the bells and whistles of the production are added on top of that, we're going to have something really special.
It really sounds like you guys got your songwriting down.
We try our best.
So then, coming to this year, you guys have decided to release a new single every month for 2020. And I know that you had asked a lot of the fan base, kind of what if they would want to see that or an EP or an album. So what kind of made you guys personally want to do the singles each month rather than just an album or a 5-song EP like you guys have done in the past?
Right. People nowadays have way shorter attention span than they did before. So when we drop an album of 5 songs or 10 songs, 3/4 of the music gets neglected because people have so many options in this day and age with platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, where the possibilities for listening to music is endless. So if we're dropping a 10-song album, the chances that somebody listens from top to bottom, besides people like you who are huge supporters and, listen top to bottom, the casual fans, to get them to really become long-term fans, we find that dropping a single is more easy to process. They can enjoy that single, and then we can give them another single next month. I use the analogy, it's like a running tap of water. The tap of water never stops. You have an unlimited supply of electricity. You can always turn the light switch on. That's sort of what it's like when we're dropping the singles. One song every single month. That way, each song is getting the same attention as an album drop would get. So when we drop a single, everybody's waiting in anticipation for that single with perhaps the same level of excitement as they would for an album. The difference is we get to drop it 12 times in a year instead of just dropping one album where 3 songs are remembered by most of the general public and then the other 9 get largely unnoticed. So the main reason is to have everybody give every Autumn King song the chance it deserves and to listen to it, because we know from the bottom of our hearts that we're putting 150% into these songs, and it shows. I mean, it doesn't have to be taken from me. If you look at Echo, it's about to pass 150,000 streams in 1 month, and that's with no label support, no PR. I always use the joke, no sex tape, right? We never we never engage, and we never do anything, no publicity stunts of any sort whatsoever. It's strictly great fans like you and all the fans we have around the world who are just listening to the music, sharing it with their friends, telling everyone about it that they see at work and other places. So the proof is there that the songs are definitely working, and we want to make sure all 12 of the songs this year get that 150% attention from the world.
So then at the end of the year, are you guys planning on releasing it all onto a full-length album, or are you just going to keep it as singles and then next year in 2021 do something different?
Well, that's something that's being in talks right now. I'm going to have to leave that to your imagination. We may have an album coming this year, and we may not, but you will find out, and that's something I want to be a little bit low-key about and keep people in suspense.
Okay, fair enough. So, and then again, going back to the singles, what can you tease about the next 10 songs? Are there any that are more like Echo, or are there going to be a couple that are like Love Let Go, kind of like the softer and the really, really powerful and moving songs? Also, because I love the song Was It Too Much from Silver Screens, will we be hearing another song kind of similar to that as well?
That's great questions. We're definitely going to have some songs that are similar to Echo. We have a song, I'll tease the title right now for your listeners. Untouchable is the name of the song. Untouchable is coming out in a couple months from now. So we're really looking forward to dropping that. We have another song coming out quite soon called Head, about mental health and just being comfortable with yourself. And lyrically, it's quite a deep song. I think people who are going through tough times are really going to connect with that one. It was certainly a tough one for us to write, but we're really happy with the outcome of it. We also have another song like Love Let Go coming out probably the summer. That could change, but probably the summer. I Hate Goodbyes is what it's called, which I'm very excited about. That one's going to be it's going to slam live, and I have a feeling it's going to do really, really nice and connect with a lot of people. We have another one called Asshole coming out, which I'm sure you've heard and seen all about, coming out next month, March 27th, which is going to be phenomenal. It's definitely a left field song for Autumn Kings fans, a little bit different than what we've put out before, but different in a really good way. And that's something that Autumn Kings always tries to keep in mind, is we always want to make sure we're being diverse with our music, because there's nothing worse, in my opinion, as a music listener, than loving one band and having them stick to the exact same sound from the beginning of their career to the end. I should make one small exception, AC/DC. I do love how they stay consistent. But generally speaking, when acts don't ever switch up, it can get a little bit monotonous, from my point of view. So we always try to incorporate different elements. And here's the interesting thing. Joe has a folk background in music. I have a rock background. Troy has a metal background. Tibor has a hard rock background. So we can take all these different influences and amalgamate them into something that's really unique and special. We try to do that with our music, so that way when somebody listens, it sounds completely fresh, like nothing they've ever heard before. So with the new songs coming up, you're going to get a lot of different flavors for the rest of this year. I really look forward to sharing it with the world.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. And honestly, when I saw about the song Asshole, it caught me off guard, but like so much, because the name of it on its own makes it seem like it's going to be really, really different and unexpected than what I'm used to, just being a fan. So I'm really intrigued with what's going to happen with that song, and I can't wait for the release. And now that I know the date, I know I can mark it on my calendar.
Interesting. Yeah, I appreciate all that. Always try to have the fundamentals of Autumn Kings stay consistent. So when the song Echo came out, Joe's still screaming in it. He was screaming in Come Save Me back in 2015 when we had our Billy Talent influences being worn on our sleeve, and he's still, incorporating that in 2020. So we still have those Autumn Kings elements that are staying the same from the beginning. But what we also have is we have some synthesizers that we're using. We have some 808 basses that we're throwing in there. We're taking all sorts of new elements, borrowing some things from hip-hop, but still putting it into that Autumn Kings sound. And that's something that's always going to stay true, the Autumn Kings edge. Because one thing that I notice in pop music right now is that most artists are way too soft. The vocals are too soft, the production is too soft, the lyrical theme is too soft, and it's okay to have some ballads, certainly. But for every song to be soft and not, I always say, I want something to punch me in the face. I want it. So Echo, we feel like we achieved that, where, I feel like I'm getting smacked in the face hard to this song, and it just pumps me up. I want to go work out 10 times harder right now. We always want to have that Autumn Kings edge to it, combined with the unpredictability of always incorporating new sounds in our music.
I always appreciated you guys for doing that, because it always makes the band a lot more interesting to me. Because if a band keeps making the same stuff over and over again, and it's not like it's consistent, it gets boring. So whenever I listen to your music, there's always something different, and that's what I love so much about your music, and that's why I gravitate a lot more towards it. So I have a Spotify playlist, and I've been listening to your music just nonstop for the past few months, because it's the only one that I've found where it's consistently changing and piquing my interest.
Appreciate that a lot, man. And you're number one fan, man. I mean, you're always the first to promote and share your enthusiasm with the world, and it doesn't go unnoticed, even though sometimes we're slow to respond because it's been so busy with studio 10 hours a day because we're putting out 12 singles a month this year with Autumn Kings. But we really appreciate that because it makes a big difference. And the world is watching. The world's paying attention right now, and you have a big part to do with that. So thank you.
Not a problem. I'm glad I could help in whatever way, and I'm really hoping that this podcast and this interview and story that I'm planning on writing will help get you guys the credit that you actually really do deserve, because I've never met a band so dedicated to the industry as much as you guys have been.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Those are very kind words.
So I just have a couple more questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is just, do you have any Canadian shows in the works, like any in Windsor or London or Toronto, anything like that?
We have a very big show coming up in one of the three cities that you just mentioned, and we're going to be announcing it this week as early as Tuesday. It's going to be one for the books in a venue that's quite prestigious, and the rest will have to get people to wait till Tuesday because I can't say anything just yet, but it's in one of the three cities that you mentioned. So stay tuned, Canadian fans. Along the 401, Autumn Kings is going to be doing a colossal show in May. You'll find out on our social media pages this week.
All right, in May, I'm going to have to book that day off and try to get out to it.
Yeah, buddy.
So my last question is just, do you have anything that you wanted to add to help with the story or to increase what I've been kind of talking about? And then did you have anything that you wanted to say to the fans or any aspiring artists wanting to get started in the industry?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you've covered just about everything there is to say. I think, the diversity in Autumn Kings has definitely been huge for us. Stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of music coming out this year, and my voice is very deep right now because I didn't sleep much last night because the show was so exciting. I was talking and meeting fans all night. We love to meet our fans. So for this show that's coming up in May, and I'll just say it now, okay? I'm going to leak it. I'm too excited. May. But for that show and for everything else happening, I just can't even sleep at night because I'm so excited. I always say I've got a lot of life to live, and so does the band. And we're putting out one single every single month for all of 2020. Autumn Kings. Follow us on our social medias. We post all sorts of fun, goofy things, and we also post a lot of teasers to our songs to get you guys excited. As for the aspiring artists, the best thing I would say is never lose the love for music. Make sure to be sharp and always, pay attention and control your band, because your band is ultimately a business. At the end of the day, you need to run it as such. But more importantly, the love of the music and writing great songs. I would say writing great songs is the most important thing. And how do you know a song's great? Well, you got to get feedback from people. You have to know in your gut that it's right. You have to collaborate with other people who are on your level or even better than you. But it's to write great songs, because you can be the best guitar player in the world, best singer in the world, best drummer in the world, maybe the best bassist in the world. But without the ability to make songs that people want to listen to, I don't think it's easy to go very far in this career. And that's something Autumn Kings has really focused on over the last couple of years, is writing great music where we just dropped Echo, we dropped Love Let Go. If you hear those songs, after one listen, you're going to remember the song. It's going to be stuck in your head like an earworm. And we designed it as such, and our inspiration we poured it. It came out of us, and we recorded it in tangible form for people to listen to. And that's something we always focus on. Take our inspiration, make sure that the song is as great as it can be, and then work the rest from there. But start off with writing a great song, and maybe you can listen to Autumn Kings and get some inspiration. I wouldn't cry about that.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate the agreeing for the interview and all that, and I hope I covered the bases.
Love that. Awesome, man. I thank you for having me speak. It's always a pleasure. I remember the first time we spoke was at Starbucks on Malden Road in LaSalle, Ontario.
Yeah.
For our first interview, and I won't forget that. That was a great time. You struck me as very professional, and all the best with your podcast and all of your future endeavors, man. You're like an Autumn King, you're like a soldier. You're fighting for us, man. I love that. I love the promotion, and the whole band appreciates it too. T-Boy, Joe, and Troy. They all say, "Oh, Travis, man, he's the number one. He's a super fan." So, thank you again. Thanks for taking the time to chat. I appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. You have a good rest of your evening.
Thanks. You as well. Talk to you soon. Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. This has been Connaught Reacts, and I will be releasing a new podcast again soon. This one will be an album review. I just don't know when I will be releasing it, so definitely stay tuned for that. And again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, album suggestions, movie soundtrack suggestions, I might even start doing commentary on different TV shows, so if you have any TV suggestions, please do feel free to let me know. Anyway, without further ado, that is the end, and I will talk to you guys another day. Bye. Thank you for listening.
Never mind. Oh,